Hello friends, this is Dr. Ravi Ram. Dr. Ravi Ram. I believe you have been receiving the audio clips of business and commercial knowledge. So, since we got an opportunity to record from a video mode also, we would like to just show and add a face to the name. I believe you have been understanding or trying to understand the concepts of business and commercial knowledge. So what we thought was to just have a recap of chapter 1 and chapter 2, and then currently I believe chapter 4 in terms of audio is getting transmitted to you, right? So we will have chapter 4, 5 and 6 if possible later. And then you may ask me, sir, what about chapter 3? Chapter 3 is mostly a self-read. So if required, if any questions on that, after your read, we can resolve those. But conceptual aspects in chapter 1 and 2, we are going to cover in probably 2 or maybe 2 video clips today, okay, or in this particular recording. Initially what we thought was BCK, since there is a rewind and play option, audio is just enough, and of course a lot of clarity is there if you follow the ICA material. This is the ICA material, right? You need to follow this because that is the book what ICA gives the questions from. I hope you are having a copy of this. If not the physical copy, at least the digital copy, because someone would have already shared with you, Chams would have shared with you, right? So I'm not going to go through the entirety of the chapter 1 or entirety of the chapter 2. What I'm going to do here is just to have a recap. So my suggestion is, in case if you did not go through chapter 1 and 2 through audio clips, do that first, and then if you follow or if you try to watch this and try to make some points out of this video, then that would be a good culmination of all the points, okay? So with that introduction, how is BCK for you? So let me ask you that question again. How is BCK for you? Then you may ask me, sir, what is this? It is after all a subject. No, it is not just a subject. It is a general business oriented language and also terminology and also knowledge. So ICAI wants us to exhibit the knowledge what we have in terms of businesses and also commercial transactions and commercial angles. So I think in one of the earlier sessions I have already mentioned, we as students of chartered accountancy need to have certain idea how the businesses work. At a high level, the first and foremost thing what we have to understand that any business is IPO, can be classified as IPO. Some of us may know what IPO is from a stock market or share market standpoint. This is not that. What is I? I is input, P is process, O is output. Input, process, output. So the basic fundamental of any business is IPO. A raw material comes into the manufacturing unit, they apply a process for that, and the product is the output. If you look at any service industry, let us say medical industry or health industry, what is the input? Patients. Process, the medical process, what they follow. Output, patient either gets cured or the other angle of it. Any given business is with this. Then you may ask me, sir, I go to a Kiranam store or a grocery store. What is the input there? The input is the product what the particular business person is selling. What is the process? The process of packing it, process of keeping that in a structured format, process of selling it to us. Then what is the process in terms of Amazon services, Swiggy services? What is the input for them? The list of restaurants, the list of products of those restaurants is the input for Swiggy. What is the process? Their software process. Booking an order, identifying a delivery person, communicating with the delivery person using GPS, finding a client, coming there and delivering physically. So input, list of orders, list of products or items from the hotels. Process, the software and also the managerial process. Output is the delivery. You name it, you got it. Any business is with this principle only. Now, with that in idea, when we are trying to understand the business and commercial knowledge, we need to look at what are all the aspects of it. So, any business has certain economic and non-economic activities. So, page 1.3 and initial parts of the material talks about that. And some of the activities what a business can do. Are there any activities other than production, services or trade that a business can do? You just think about it. So that is a general understanding of the beginning of chapter 1. So what ICA is trying to do to us, since some of us are not from the commercial background or commerce background, I am not saying commercial background only, but commerce background. Academically, they would have studied something else. So to understand the business, this is a method to identify what is a business, what are its characteristics like activities, scale, meaning the size of the business, geographies or wherever they are placed, ownership, who owns it, stakeholders, functions, focus, concerns, so many angles that we can look at the business. Then you may ask me, sir, we are hardly about 18 years of age and we don't know much about all this. The idea of ICAI is to know about this. That's the reason why we need to start looking at how the current market is. What are the activities that happen in a market? Where do we get the rice from? From a Kiranam shop, of course, but there is a producer somewhere. Where do we get a marker pen from? What is the raw material used for it? Who produces that? What is the process they use it? How is it getting into my hand or our hands? All these things. These things require certain curiosity. So ICAI is asking us to be curious to know the businesses. That is nothing but business and commercial knowledge. Improve the knowledge. Alright? So chapter 1, to begin with, what are the different domains of the business? To understand how business and commercial knowledge is very vast. Can any one of us know about all the businesses that are there in the world? Impossible. Varieties of businesses, millions of varieties of businesses, hence it is vast. You go through the material, I am not going to read through it now, because in the audio clip you would have already heard and also understood some of those. Now I am just trying to recap it. Okay? And page 1.5 talks about BCK is eclectic. There is a new word that ICAI has added to our dictionary. What is that? Eclectic means multidisciplinary. What is multidiscipline? Varieties of angles. and it includes production, it includes marketing, it includes sales, it includes human resources, it includes trade, it includes services, it includes research and development, so many things. So it is multidisciplinary. You just look at maybe your graduation, maybe your intermediate where you did. From certain angles it is a business, it is academic business. Of course, it may be a service in some areas, but it is primarily an activity. What is that activity? There is a raw material, mostly those are the students. There is a process, that is a teaching process, and there is an output. With a result, students go out for the next endeavors. Is it not considered and fit into IPO model? Any and every business fits into it. So that's why it has multidisciplinary areas. Okay? And similarly, some vocabulary they mentioned, we would have heard some of those: strategy, tactical, or logistics, bulls, bears. We need to know some of these words. What are these? Why are these being used? As going forward, these things will be there. And BCK is ever evolving and expanding. It doesn't stop at one place. New areas of knowledge, new areas of business and commercial angles. Who thought about artificial intelligence about 50 years back? Maybe some, Isaac Asimov or someone like scientists would have thought about it. Is it not? But now it is a reality. So business and commercial knowledge is ever evolving because businesses evolve. Businesses are not static. You ask your grandparents, what is this door delivery system of Amazon or Flipkart or whatever? Did they imagine this? Forget about that. Did they imagine the smartphone? No. That means businesses evolve. Businesses try to solve the human problems, try to solve the human issues. That's how businesses actually serve the human. In doing that, they identify the input, they use a process which is a technical or non-technical process, and then output comes. So if we have this framework in the mind, this is the basis, we can analyze any business or any activity for that matter. Okay? So it is ever evolving. An importance for chartered accountants, general discussion. Who doesn't require business and commercial knowledge here? Only chartered accountants? Everyone requires it. However, a technological person may require mostly in the technology area. But chartered accountant is, in future, the becoming chartered accountants like us, like you. We need to have a general understanding of the entire business and commercial knowledge gamut. Meaning, we need to have an idea what is going on. What are the new technologies? What are the new business models? What are the varieties of, what I would say, implementation in terms of businesses? So new areas. Chartered accountant definitely requires to know. So that's what he explains. And then how to enhance it? First of all, we should have a general tendency to understand and read, watch, try to gather some knowledge from outside. I'm not sure how many of you are really a fan or fans of various web series that comes into Amazon or Netflix. Through that also we can understand a lot of business models. I know some of us, what is this class, this type of material, this is exams, I hate it. No. Why? Business and commercial knowledge can be known from everywhere. There also we can understand varieties of new areas of business. So for a chartered accountant or a student, what I mean or what I say means, it is important. So we need to read at least the highlights of the newspapers. Don't think that politics is something which is not for us, it is only for some guzar, meaning elderly people. No. We need to at least know what is going on. Movies, most of us may watch it, but do we understand the business of movies? How it works? What is the distribution system? What is the exhibitor system? What type of financial issues happen there? We understand that becomes our future practice if possible. That's the reason why for a chartered accountant in future, everything and anything can be a potential business. So do we have to know it or not? So we need to know it. Okay? So start reading some newspapers. If not, I'm not talking about physical papers. That is maybe boomer generation. But we are not. So use a digital technology, use some online newspaper, maybe subscribe online to a couple of financial papers like Economic Times, look at the page, 1.6, 1.7, so many magazines. At the beginning we may not understand most of this. But as we get through the terminology, then we'll get curiosity. What is this? What is this word? What is this new jargon? Then Jai Google, try to search it. Naturally we'll get the information. That is how curiosity builds the knowledge. And believe me, that will help us not only in the BCK exam, it would help us in law, it would help us in some other theory-based exams, it would help us in understanding a problem in costing in future. So gathering the commercial knowledge is important. Do you think that ICAI has to tell us? We should have that insight. Is it not? So try to read, try to understand the current affairs, try to understand what happened, why Reliance Industries under the ownership of Mukesh Ambani is now a debt-free company. How did it happen? Who acquired some of the shares and shed the money? How come Mukesh Ambani is totally debt-free? It's a great rare feature of any company. How did he become like that? Have some understanding. I'm not asking you to admire, at least try to understand. So that's how the knowledge can be acquired. Okay? And some economic and non-economic activities. Basic thing. What is economic activity? Which is done for an economic purpose. It requires money. Both economic and non-economic requires money. They require money. However, economic activity is not done for a purpose of generating money. So I think it is pretty much self-explanatory. So you just go through that. I'm not going to. So there are a few examples here on the left side of the what is this page 1.8. Okay. So the motive, the intent behind any economic activity is money. Non-economic from in the house, mother or father or now in Corona times both are doing cooking work. So if they prepare something, are they doing for money? Okay, one chapati, 5 rupees. Are they demanding money from us? It is a non-economic activity. But does it require money to perform that activity? Who gives the atta? Freely someone gives. So that's how we have. It is a motive. The same, roti or chapati or paratha. If there is a hotel, they also prepare the similar way. Maybe some modifications by adding some maida and all that. However, they are doing it for commercial, money purpose. So economic, non-economic. One question is guaranteed. It is pretty easy, straightforward concept. So go through that. So some of the characteristics, economic activities are income generating, they are productive, even using that is also economic. When we buy some products from market, that is also economic activity because it requires money to do that. So those things are, and it gives some savings, wealth, additional income, all those things can be stored somewhere. And business, definitely, is it an economic activity or not all businesses? There are some organizations, they do it for not profit or non-profit, not for profit companies. Some of the NGOs, some of the companies, which are in the market, those are for not profit. Is it not? So are they doing economic activity? No, because their motive is not profit. So just go through that. Few examples are given. Okay. So some of the characteristics, page 1.11, it talks about business versus other economic activities. So there is something called employment. Most of Indians, probably I would say, especially in South India, go for employment. What is employment? There is a person who has a business or an industry. Industry is also, I'm using business word as an activity, which can be an industry, which can be a company, software, or other companies, which can be a shop. These are all like businesses. Okay, in a broader term. So employment, someone, we have to work for someone else. That is employment. In that there is a contract. How long you are going to work for us, or this is the salary you will get. What is the our wages, salary or wages we call it as. So employment is nothing but we get, what is the output out of it, salary or wage. So is it an economic activity? Yes, because we get salaries. Similarly, there is something else called profession. Chartered accountancy is a professional course. What does it mean? It requires certain qualification given by an authority. In our case it is ICAI. Is it not? So ICAI type organization should give a certification for us. After all the certification, then only we are qualified as something. Then with that qualification, we can provide services. Services can be through employment as well as profession. When we work for some company, they give salary for us. When we work as a professional, as a service, we get fee for it, consultation fee. Agreed? So that is profession. Similarly, there is something called business or entrepreneurship. We starting our own business. So entrepreneurial, most of us know it. We generally use it as entrepreneur, but actually it is entrepreneurial. So different varieties. There is a table what they have given in the book. For employment, it is all about the organization where we work for. We cannot dictate terms. We have to work according to the logic, according to the rules of the game of the company. Whereas profession, at least we have certain individuality, and also we can work or we can serve the clients for a fee. Some, independence, not totally. Whereas we run our own business, do we have independence? Absolutely yes. I'm a founder, my values are there. So all these things are there in the table here. So 3 varieties of economic activities related to businesses from a understanding standpoint. Number 1, employment. Number 2, profession. Number 3, our own business, entrepreneurial business. You look around now, maybe you just walk, if possible in your colony or wherever you stay, just look around. Who is an employee? Who is a professional? Is doctor? Who has their own clinic? Employee or professional or entrepreneur? Professional degree is there, medicine. Employment, he or she is not working for anyone else. So they are giving their professional services by establishing their own business. So they are entrepreneurial and professional. Let us say there is a chartered accountant who is working in PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers as an organization. Professionally, a profession. From a profession standpoint, qualified professional, but not working as an independent consultant, working for an employee. Hence, employee plus profession. This is how we can understand. So ask, try to know about your parents or relations, or what are they doing. I'm working for Intel, I'm working for Google, I'm working for X, Y, Z. But with all these qualifications, why are they working? Because they would like to have employment. Is it more safer compared to individual business? Yes. But is it more rewarding? No. Own business, if it works out, profits. We can become Ambanis. Yeah? So, some of the characteristics of the businesses: job creator, momentum for economic growth, naturally, new areas of momentum, meaning more and more economic growth through businesses can happen, and definitely it requires investment. There is a word called gestation. Gestation means the time it takes to fructify, meaning X amount, let us say 10 lakhs is invested in the business. Next day onwards 10 lakhs will not come. Next month itself it won't come. As an employee, first month's salary they may get. But business is not like that. So gestation has its own time. That's called gestation. So when we sow a seed, immediately the tree won't come. Is it right? Business is like that. Okay? And uncertainties are also there. And it's a systematic, organized and efficiency oriented activity and general discussion. A lot of theory paragraphs and all that. You just go through that. Don't miss even a single line. Why? ICA is very intelligent. It can pick up a concept from any line. So you go through this, you listen to audio clips, and then even then if you have any questions, anyway, you know where to reach WhatsApp group. I'll respond back if possible. Immediately, if not, I'll give some leeway time and then respond back. Okay? And of course, business is an objective. Every business has an objective. So a few examples. There is something called, at the end of 1.14, there is something called triple bottom line. TBL. Very important. Most of us think that businesses are only for profits. No. Businesses are not only for profits. Businesses are with profits, people, planet. Why all this? Because they need to care about the people around them. Also, the planet where we live in. We cannot just spoil it. What is the word called bottom line? Typically, bottom line means what is it in for me. However, any business should have in mind called triple bottom line. This can be a good question. A single bottom line can be profit, but a triple bottom line, profit, people, planet. So this is a kind of a Venn diagram, if you remember. So that's why a sustainable business should be there. Okay? And a few of the same things again explained in the next page, 1.15. Examples like ITC hotels, Lemon Tree, classic examples. Okay? 1.16 onwards, it talks about different forms of businesses. So where do we start? As a business ownership, what does it mean by business ownership? Who owns the business? Whoever owning the actual capital, whoever is investing in it. They are the owners. But can the business be like that forever? No. So as the business is growing, more and more partners may join, more and more shareholders may join. So businesses get evolve. So that's how the rest of the chapter is. Business ownership is a bundle of rights. That is called a titular ownership. In law also you will read that, you will study that. Titular ownership. And business may be owned singly or jointly, both. It can be both. And some of those proprietary concerns or corporate concerns, we are going to go through that, varieties, right? So I don't have to elaborate all this again because it's just a summary. To start with, sole proprietorship, a single person starts a business, that is the beginning, if at all. There are some businesses who are owned by only one person. A lot of pawn shops, a lot of hotels, meaning small hotels. Maybe a bandi that goes with idli, dosha type. One person owns it, sole proprietary. Some companies, big companies also sole proprietors. An automobile company, a small factory in Patancheru area or Katedan area of Hyderabad. Small areas, I mean small businesses. Sole proprietorship. Certain characteristics are there, those are explained very elaborately here. I'm not going to repeat those characteristics again. So sole proprietorship is generally the beginning of it. Okay? Then, as the business needs to get expanded, maybe a family also can join in that. That is Hindu undivided family. Typically, other than Muslims, the rest of the religions in India can form this business, type of a business, because Muslims have a separate law that is called Sharia. Based on Sharia, certain Muslim personal law is there in India. That's a politically debatable topic. We are not going to go through that, why, what, all that. But Hindu undivided family, like Hindus, Parsis, Christians, any of the other religions, Punjabis, for example. So those families of varieties of religions, they can form this. How? There is a karta at the top, the core, the person who started the business, and all their next generations. But they have to be a family. Can I be an employee and the owner of a company in the same family? No. Either you can be an employee or the partner. So few features are explained. HUF, Hindu undivided family. So it cannot earn income from the salary, and all the discussions are there. And the third one is partnership. So what is partnership? Group of people come together. They try to have a contract. Once the contract is executed, a couple of partners, or more than two is partner. So that's why there are certain acts, Indian Partnership Act 1932. These things have to be remembered. See, some portion of BCK is memory also. Not only the knowledge, but memory is also important there. So few aspects related to partnership. It's a contractual co-ownership group of partners and certain limitations. Maximum number of people can be some 50, 100, like that. And profit sharing, how it happens. So partnership is generally between people who are with like-mindedness. And partnership is, there is no limited, it's an unlimited liability. Let us say there are 3 partners. One partner has abandoned the business and left. What happens to the rest of the partners? See, let us say they have taken 1 crore loan. One partner has cheated. The rest of the 2 have to pay the entire 1 crore. That means liability is unlimited. Everyone has to share it. It's a risk in it. Hence, government and also business groups have started something called limited liability partnership. That means, let us say there are 3 partners. 1 crore is invested. Partner A, 30 crores, 33 or whatever. It may be equal level partnership. It may be different percentages also. Let us say one person, for some reasons, has cheated. The other people, other partners in the same group are not affected because of that person, because the liability is only limited to my investment only. Let us say I am investing 40%, A, B is investing 40%, C is investing 20%. So B has cheated the banks for some other reasons. Does A have to pay that? No. In a limited liability? No, because my liability is limited. So this is how businesses can be understood. Since we are still not into any of the employment, or we don't know many of those, these things have to be understood from a concept of how the legal formation of the companies happen. So that's why in business law these things are more and more elaborately explained. But this is only a general recap of what type of companies can be established. We started with what? Sole proprietorship. Sole, we cannot expand much because our limited resources only. So family, Hindu undivided family. That is one method, but risk is equally shared there. Instead of that, better to go with partners with someone else. Partnership, joint partnership we call it as. But in that liability is more, unlimited. Then limited liability has come into picture. So few features of that. What is the final, what I would say, what is the final stage of any organization? Corporation. What is that corporate, so-called corporate? That's called company. Company means there are people, not only 1, 2, those are all registered private limiteds or public limited companies. There is a basic difference. Private limited, group of people involving in a company. There is a board of directors. The investors may not work on a day-to-day basis. Investors only invest. In some cases they may be part of board of directors also. So private limited, group of directors, they run the company. Investors may not run the company, but even they have their own share. Is there a limited liability? Yes. Something happens, for example, one of the directors is, for some reasons, is death happened. Will the company get closed? No. Company will survive. Whereas in earlier cases, it is not like that. So certain pros, certain cons, but this is the highest form of a company. So there is a perpetual continuation in a company format. What is perpetuality? Forever. Once you form a company, until unless all the board of directors decide to dissolve the company survives. It is not dependent on the investor only. However, there is a private limited, small group of people. Whereas there is something called public limited, where lakhs and lakhs of people are shareholders. How can it happen? When this private limited company gets registered in the share market, and it it gives the shares to people for money. That means lakhs and lakhs of people or investors are part of the company for the smallest share what they have. Using this, a lot of money can be attracted, improved as a business, more and more R&D can happen. That is called share market based company, which is a publicly listed company. So company is the highest form of the organization. Okay, within company there are two varieties: private company, public company. Private company, private investments, private ownership, private group of directors. How do they register? They have to register in Register of Companies, and there are certain laws and acts they have to follow. Companies Act and all that. In law also you will study those. Whereas public company, they have to work with ROC, as well as there is something called SEBI. In chapter 4 and 5 somewhere we'll study that. So SEBI also and ROC also, both. So more and more regulation in public listed companies. Reasonably less, only ROC will manage the private companies. So this is how we can distinguish and understand the shapes of the companies. So page 1.23 also talks about it. There are some audit requirements. There are certain reports what organizations need to provide. So page 1.24 also gives a summary. So like I said, this is a quick recap of all the detailed audio files what you had as lessons earlier. Okay. In case of any questions, naturally you can reach out in the WhatsApp or common WhatsApp group. But read through these, try to solve the questions at the end of the chapter, test your knowledge without looking at the answers first. And while looking at the questions, if you have any doubts again, don't hesitate to respond back. Okay? Thank you.